Allegedly.
There's so many of you.
And they all love you. Don't you guys all love him?
Thanks.
All right, everybody get your camera, but then, you know what? We'll do a photo op at the end so everyone can get a really good picture, but let's all like keep this moment intimate. This is for all of you guys. You guys came here, right?
Hello.
This is a panel for you. So once you get your picture and know you'll get another one at the end, go ahead and put your phones down.
I'm so sorry it was so long. How long have you been waiting? God damn it. That's 60 minutes. I'm so sorry.
Hey, you rowdy section over there, come up to the mic if you want to talk to him. And everybody, you can come up to both mics in the aisles while people are lining up, and we'll get through as many questions in this hour as we can. But while people are lining up, you've been in the business forever. You grew up in the business. When you first got the script for the trilogy, what were your thoughts, and were you familiar with the origin material?
Yeah, I had a copy of Lord of the Rings on my bookshelf since I was a child. I'd read The Hobbit, I think, when I was 10 or 11, and I'd always meant to get to Lord of the Rings and never did. And I was working on the first time I'd heard an inkling that the movies were going to be made. I was working on a movie called The Faculty. I was on set, and the local journalist came up to me and he said, I know they're making The Lord of the Rings, and Peter Jackson is going to direct it. Which I just thought was perfect, because I was a big fan of Heavenly Creatures, and I'd seen his early work, and I was like, man, he's so perfect for grounding the movie, but also blending fantasy, and he does that so well. And he was like, you need to play Frodo. And this was an entire year before it actually came into my life, and they started the casting process. And the script was not sent around. I had to actually go to an office and read it there, because it was on lockdown. It was totally top secret. So I went to this casting office in Los Angeles and sat down for about 2 hours by myself and read the script for The Fellowship of the Ring. And it blew my mind. I mean, I certainly was familiar with Tolkien, but I didn't know the story of Lord of the Rings. And I didn't really know, I had no relationship with the character of Frodo, but the script was so, it kind of brought the world to life very vibrantly. And I remember driving home, very distinctly remember this, driving home and thinking that there were elves and like orcs following me. I was so immersed in that world. And so, yeah, like everybody else, I had to audition. And they saw so many different people, and I was anxious to go into a casting office and be sort of filmed against a white background and stuff. And there's got to be something I can do to articulate my passion and enthusiasm for the role that stands out a little bit. So I ended up doing my own audition tape, and I got a couple of books on the hobbits, various art styles of representing what they look like, which I had a relatively good idea of. And I went to Western costume in LA, so costume, knee-high pants, and riches, and that whole kind of look, put that together. And then there were 3 scenes, and my friends and I shot them from various angles, and then we cut the scenes together that night, and then I dropped off the video to the casting office the next day. And then eventually Peter came into town, and I re-auditioned months.
Obviously, career-changing, amazing.
Life-changing.
Life-changing.
Yeah, I mean, I've never, I mean, it was so profound on so many levels. Obviously, being a part of something as massive as that was significant, but also traveling, you know, I was 18, traveling to a foreign country and living there for over a year and a half. It was the first time I've really lived away from home for any significant period of time. It was a huge life experience. It was like going on an adventure for real that we would never, ever forget. So it was, yeah, it was really profound.
And obviously, between the books and the script, which you said was very poignant in the beginning, there was a great blueprint for the character. But what do you feel like internally you brought that ended up making them choose you, which, by the way, is so perfect for the role? I don't think anyone else can imagine anyone else playing.
What?
This section's very rowdy.
That section. They've been drinking too much Hobbit ale. in the sense that I had an understanding of the character. I tried to, I didn't have a pre-existing relationship to the character in the book, right? So my approach was just purely to understand the essence of who this person was and the journey that he was supposed to be going on. And that was sort of it. How that is different from anybody else's approach, I can't speak to that. That was what I did, and somehow that stood out.
It absolutely resonated. I know we have a lot of questions, so let's take one. Starting over here. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So, I'm a huge Tolkien fan, and I've actually taken a course on Tolkien, and there's one question that always started fights. Unfortunately, this may
Started fights?
Yes, we started arguing intensely about
Okay.
this. Unfortunately, this is going to be biased outro next in here, so
Oh shit, should we read one?
maybe.
All right, well,
Let me
we
ask.
can start it over when he gets here. We can just reignite it.
Okay. So, who do you think the real hero was?
Oh,
of
no.
the Rings? Frodo or Sam?
I think that. But it's kind of.
I actually don't think that that's even a debate. I think without Frodo having taken the task and understanding what that was going to ultimately result in, then the ring wouldn't have been destroyed. If Sam hadn't accompanied Frodo on that journey, the ring wouldn't have been destroyed. So it's not, I don't think one is more of a hero than the other. I think the one picked up the slack where the other was failing, and the other person had ultimately made the decision to go on this journey. I don't know that Frodo would have made it without Sam, but I don't see it as one being more of a hero than other. They both had a part to play in something that they were fated to do. So that's right now. That was my perspective. I think so too, and I'm not just trying to be fair to either
No,
side.
but it
I'm
really
going to be
is.
fair.
It was, it's the duo that makes the perfect combination between you guys. Hi.
Hi, how you doing, Elijah?
Good, how are you?
Both of you. First of all, obviously we all love Lord of the Rings, but I always had a question. How did you hook up with Flying Lotus, who's one of my favorite producers of all time? And I know you made a video with him called Tiny Tortures, and I was
Yes.
just kind of curious.
That whole thing happened on Twitter, if you can believe it.
Awesome.
I follow a lot of musicians and artists that I really admire, and the cool thing about Twitter on occasion is that occasionally those people might know who you are and follow you too, which is really cool. And that's happened to me a couple of times. And he's a perfect example, and I followed him, and I love his music. I think he's a brilliant musician, producer, and now an insane filmmaker. Have you seen Russo? It's so, it's like, well, watch at your own risk. It's gnarly, but it's really cool. So that was the thing where he had direct messaged me, and he was like, hey, I'm doing this music video with this filmmaker, David Lewandowski, I think his name is. And I knew that guy's work, and he's like, would you ever be interested in doing this? And I was like, can I be in your video? Yes. And the crazy thing is that there literally were, so that then got moved to production contacting me. The entire thing happened without me ever being on the phone with anyone. So that, day of production, set up, crew arrived, all of this had been planned without anyone from production actually speaking to me on the phone, to the point where they were like, is he gonna show up? He said via Twitter that he is.
He tweeted.
There's an email address that he's apparently writing from. It's pretty funny.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So first things first, my mom says hi.
Hello, Mom.
Yeah. Frodo was one of the first movies I ever saw, and working with Mel must have been amazing. But it sparked the inspiration for me to. I'm a local actor, so you and the Lord of the Rings series have been a massive inspiration to that. So with you and Sean also being child stars as it were, What advice do you have, because you've been in the industry for such a long time, what advice do you have for up-and-coming people like myself to kind of, I don't want to say break in, but like to kind of guide us on the right path as to making it? Yeah.
It's a good question.
It's a very good question. Well,
I'll stand secret.
yeah,
Sorry.
Just, it's a good question, and it's a complicated one. I think just keep doing. Do stuff with your friends, create, rather than always trying to go down one path where people are going to see you just because you're auditioning constantly or whatever that path may be, but find other things that are creative outlets as well, because it's only going to loop back around and reinforce the work you do as an actor. I also just feel like I'm a big believer in, I mean, maybe it's a little abstract or broad, but just integrity, that the things that you're doing them for the right reasons and because it fulfills a love and a passion. I think you kind of can't go wrong if you're doing what you love and expressing that. Like, you know, the bigger goals will eventually come, but you should also just love doing it even on a small scale.
Yeah.
And I think that will hopefully beget further work and further opportunities.
Because right now I'm doing a lot of community theater stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's
I
absolutely
mean,
amazing.
it all
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Sean Astin!
Sam.
Wow.
Sean, you weren't here, but there was a question prior that was about who the real hero was between Sam and Frodo.
Frodo.
But see, I said that you can't really quantify either of them being more heroic than the other, because without Sam, Frodo couldn't have destroyed the ring. Without Frodo's decision to take on the task, the ring wouldn't have been destroyed either.
Frodo. No, Frodo's immortal soul is, I mean, he's can't imagine what's going on inside, what's being lost. Sam's just trying to help get you over the finish line. So Sam's very heroic. But between Sam and Frodo, for my money, it's Frodo.
No, but totally, but if Sam hadn't, I mean, we can talk about this all night, but if Sam hadn't chosen to push himself into Frodo's journey, because Frodo was ready to leave him behind, if Frodo had gone off on his own, he wouldn't have made it. I believe that.
No, and if those guys weren't distracting him with the army over there, like, it's everybody. It's a weird thing. When you finish 9 hours, this is the thing about binging stuff that I've done. It's all about binging now. And my wife and I have been together 27 years, and she looked at me after our 12-year-old finished binging Stranger Things season 2. Very profound point here about society and the nature of things. So she said, she asked us, what do you think of this binging thing? And it's amazing that you can, like, we want so much and we don't want to have to wait, and it's amazing at the end of 10 hours or 9 or 12 or whatever it is. And Lord of the Rings was really like watching the extended versions all over in the theaters. That was binging. That's OG binging, right? So, but at the same time, you're not savoring it like, if you're waiting week to week for the next episode of something to come out and they change their mind or something. And so, like, I don't know what's, I mean, I guess there's a place for all of it, but I don't know.
You're anti-binging, I think.
No, I love it.
Okay.
But everyone has the same feeling. At the end of binging, you're like, I want more. It's not satisfying enough. It's like crack cocaine. It's like I have to wait for how many seasons? So in the vacuum that's created after you binge Lord of the Rings, it's like, who do you think was the real hero? Was Frodo and Sam? Like, let's just watch it over again, and who cares? Like,
There is something about, like Game of Thrones, which kind of prolongs that feeling. You get months, basically, of being able to of keeping that enthusiasm at a certain level. Whereas, when you sit down and watch, like, I think the first season of Stranger Things I watched in the course of like a week or something like that, and then it's over. And you're like, aha! At least in most seasons of a show that aren't on Netflix or on some streaming platform where you can do that, you do prolong that feeling of excitement.
An intrigue.
Yeah. What's gonna happen? And then you spend a week talking about it and wondering. That's kind of.
It's the water cooler talk.
Then again, if it's right there, I get it.
I can't wait. I mean, I'm like, if I want to see the thing, I'm going to see it.
Well, we kind of brought up the question of who the real hero is, but the story is about the friendship between the characters. And so when you guys came to New Zealand, what did you do to develop that friendship, which is so apparent on screen?
I feel like it was kind of instant. I'll never forget the moment we met. We were at a hotel in Los Angeles.
Mommy's also Fitel.
Getting our wigs fitted. And I had just come from having my wig fitted upstairs, and he was walking in through the lobby, I believe. So, yeah,
I remember.
Oh, was it the other way around?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember we saw each other, and it was just like an instant. We never met. We never spoken to each other at all. And you were coming through the door, and I had just come out of the elevator, and it was like, if you would have done it in slow motion with a big music cue, it would have been too much. And just hug, and we just hugged and hugged and hugged and hugged. And I'll never forget. Like
I've never met him in my life.
Which is unusual for you.
But we knew that we
knew
were
each
going to
other.
be.
And we knew this too.
But we also knew we were going to be.
And then when we finished hugging, I pulled you away, and I looked at you, and I go, "Are you ready for this?" And you go, "Yeah." Are you? And all of a sudden, I was like, "I don't know."
And when did you each realize that this was something more than just, a trilogy, more than, Peter Jackson's next project? When did you realize that this was going to have such longevity and such a huge, rabid fan base?
I mean, I think we were conscious of the significance of it when we first went to New Zealand. The books loomed very large, but I don't know that there was a way to understand the true impact until after the first movie was released. Because we also were making, as much as we understood the significance, and there was a sort of sense of the internet being aware and talking about what we were doing, was really pre-internet in the way that we are now. So we were kind of making it in a bubble a little bit. We were kind of off in the country making a film that felt big but also felt really small. And you were able to forget, at least from my perspective, I sort of forgot about the scope of the anticipation.
Like once every 6 months, they'd be like, "Oh, we have to put your robes on because there's some people with cameras in the bushes." And you're like, "Why would there be cameras?" Oh, right, like the images of the hobbits is like a secret. Like we didn't.
Let's go over here. Hi.
I know. Wait, just one thing. So Elijah wanted us all to get tattoos from like the first night we were there. And we were like, no. And others, the other guys, some were like, yeah, whatever. And John was like, no, we're not going to do that. And I'm like, it's okay. And by the time we got through the whole experience, getting the tattoo was this. It created a permanence. Yeah. So I think in that sense, he planted a flag in we know it's going to be a permanent thing, a forever thing, in terms of our relationship to each other.
For us,
And the bond, yeah. That's a private question.
It's nice though.
Nice.
Hi.
Hi, I want to ask Sean about getting eaten by a Demogorgon, but I won't.
Spoiler!
I guess you should have watched.
Spoiler.
I really.
Yeah, that's really bad.
It's been out for like a week and a half.
It's okay. Nobody heard what he said. Go ahead. What was your nice question?
Actually, my
Redacted.
question really,
I
and
haven't
for
either.
Elijah, did you ever get around to reading the trilogy? But really, for both of you, now that you've had a decade and a half or so to reflect on making the film, what was really the most challenging thing for you? You're away in New Zealand, the challenges of filming. I'm curious about that on such a remote location.
There's a there's like some good, there's a lot of meat in that question right there.
Was it the location that was challenging? Was it being away? Was it the, wardrobe? The Hobbit?
Combined. I mean, it was also just...
Well, you started the question asking about having read the books and then reflecting back on it, because to me that's an interesting thing. Like I keep coming back. I did the Colbert Show the other night, and they didn't leave in the part of he's this huge Lord of the Rings fan, and you've been on a show, and Peter he won the world's heart over with his knowledge. He's a Tolkien scholar, and Peter put him in The Hobbit and like all that. So I was like, I have a couple questions for you, and he said on my own show, and I was like, and then we did it, and they cut it out, but. I know, right?
Sometimes put that on mind.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping they will. But one of the questions I asked was about Sam, like going to the Grey Havens. Like he gets accorded the honor of going to the Grey Havens because he was a ring bearer, which is like, so there's that. But he's married to Rosie Cotton, and they have 15 kids. And so after Rosie dies, does he not want to be buried with her? And like, I wanted to know what he thought about that. And then I wanted to know about Elven Rhode, and he went into this whole thing about magic is a human word, and what the elves' relationship to the it was like I knew it.
Astounding.
I know, and
He should be a Tolkien professor.
yeah. Well, he is a scholar. I mean, there's a thing. There's a little like you gotta have a ring and a handshake, and but anyhow. So, but like the idea of reflecting back on the meaning of the work, and I talked about Treebeard. I've always said I like Treebeard and the environmental treatise that Lord of the Rings is, and that stuff. But I said something in the show, and it's awesome. Who? Me? It's much more fun if there's other people around doing stuff. I mean, like we can talk whenever we want. But what was I gonna say?
Treebeard.
Yeah. That was funny the way I did that. I said that one of the things I loved was that Tolkien, who was writing during the Industrial Revolution when the smokestacks were belching and the skyline was just black, and people were having lung issues and stuff, he writes this story where the trees come to life and fight for their own survival. And I said that and I'm not sure if I agreed with what I said when I was watching it later, but I said, the environment doesn't care whether or not man is willing to acknowledge the impact that we're having on the environment. The environment doesn't care. It's going to rise up and defend itself. Do we agree on that? Yeah. Okay. And so what's ultimately at stake, like if you take it to the next step, it's like human beings, it's a gift that we're here. And we're on just a razor's edge of like Indian giving or whatever that horrible phrase is, like of looking a gift horse in the mouth. My mom used to say. Do you know what that expression means?
I do.
Somebody gives you a horse, you don't check its teeth to see if it's a good enough horse. They gave you the flippin' horse. Just enjoy the horse.
Right.
You can look at its teeth later. You don't want to be insulting to the guy who gave you the horse. Yeah. So humanity is a gift, and if we blow it, and we melt all our ice caps with our stuff, and we flood ourselves out, and we give ourselves storms and everything else, our survival isn't certain. The Earth's is.
Amen.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hi. That's fine. You know what?
Trying to think of other expressions from my mom.
Gift horse in the mouth is a good one. So there's talk right now, about making the Lord of the Rings into a series. What do you guys think about that, and would you want to reprise your roles?
I don't think that there would be a world in which we'd be asked to reprise our roles at this stage. But I don't know, it's a tough one. I'm conflicted about the notion, because in one respect, right, the books are incredibly dense, and the movie has only encapsulated so much of the books. So to be able to encapsulate absolutely every aspect of the books in a way that is stretched over multiple hours of TV that's actually exciting. The concern I have is the visual work that had been established by Peter Jackson and Alan Lee and John Howe and these incredible artisans in New Zealand that have that continuity then carried on into The Hobbit as well. is that same team going to do the television series? Because it feels like the expectations are that world's been established. So my concern is that it's a really massive you know, at that stage to try and establish it all over again. Is that I don't understand what the approach would be. But I do find it exciting. And look, I mean, there's Silmarillion on TV, which
Well, it would have to take stuff from Silmarillion in order to make it viable. It would have to be new. I would think it would have to be new. You know, you'd have to take what's there in the minds or something, and then let somebody create something that Tolkien didn't write. So then, is it still Lord of the Rings or is it not?
Well, it's tough. It's just tough to imagine. Like, if it's not going to be Ian McKellen, who's Gandalf? Like, are we gonna revisit all this again? I don't know. It seems too fresh, but then again, it's been nearly 20 years, so I don't know.
I was saying earlier that, you know, my dad was Gomez in the original Addams Family. Thank you for John Astin. So when they made the Addams Family movies with the incomparable Raul Julia, who I just think is spectacular, but you know, it's almost like in our house, am I allowed to say that because my dad is Gomez, but Raul Julia is Gomez, and then because of something to do with the rights or the Charles, I don't know, whatever it was, nobody from the television show was to be included with the movies. I don't understand the what or why of it. All I know is that it hurt my feelings that my dad didn't get to be a part of the thing that he created. And I watched him be stoic and kind of, you know, understanding and philosophical about it. And I thought, wow, as I'm making movies, and it all started with like the Goonies, is there going to be a Goonies sequel thing? Like, you know, would it be us? Would it be the new kids? What would happen? Like, wait a minute. Raise your hand if you've ever done a drawing with anything related to Lord of the Rings. Yeah. So you've already all reinterpreted Lord of the Rings in your way. So Amazon, if they can figure it out with the Tolkien family and they can put a bunch of money at it, you know, there's good for them. If it's really good, I'll watch. You know?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, I'm going to take a minute to... Is this loud enough? There we go. I'm going to take a minute to gush here before I get to my question. First, I remember being amazed when I learned that your mother was Pat Duke.
I was amazed too. Thank you.
Secondly, I was amazed when I learned Elijah was in Back to the Future Part 2.
A little known trivia.
I can't believe I have to use my hands for this. It's like a dumb old baby's toy. I wanted to ask, this is probably, you know, going back some 17 years, thinking about work with the regular size actors, you know, you would work with scale doubles or forced perspective. And I was actually wondering, I don't think I've ever really heard this asked, what was the most difficult aspect for you both, I guess, of that sort of filming? Forced perspective, scale doubles, what have you?
It's a great question.
We did. It's sort of. There's a lot of right in what you're saying, but the wrong thing is what should be pointed out first, which is we actually did work with each other. I would be on my knees, and I'd be looking up at Ian McKellen. You know what I mean? And he'd be looking down at me. So it's a question of like where's your eye line? But the other actors are available to emote with a lot of times. And then a lot of times we weren't as a function, not just of forced perspective, but there were 19 units shooting and people are on different islands and different sets and stages and everything else. And so I think you develop we all know each other, and you know, I can see Elijah anywhere I want in my mind anytime. Ex-boyfriend privileges.
It is true. We were available to each other at all times, and even if it was a thing that forced perspective, you know, I experienced it a lot with Ian McKellen in Baggins, or on the cart approaching, like driving through Hopkins. He was there. I just couldn't look at him. But the understanding of our work together and the connection that we were having as actors felt real and palpable, and it's just that the eye line has shifted, and you just kind of get used to it. I think the weirdest thing was probably the blue screen unit, because that would involve us redoing something that we had done in physical space and fitting ourselves into a scene where they had shot a version of it with just the people who were tall, and then us kind of being led through that same universe on something that was often a motion-controlled shot. So it was almost like visual ADR. Does anyone know what ADR is? So it's additional dialogue recording where you kind of go back and you have to fix any kind of errors in the sound recording if there were noises on the day, and you have to re-record your dialogue, of which we re-recorded everything in Lord of the Rings. I don't know if that's widely known. That's not a common thing either. But the blue screen unit felt like a visual ADR. You just like had to fit into what had already been predetermined for you. That was kind of funny, but it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, like in a car, you in a standard transmission, you push the clutch in, right? Or you push the pedal in and then you move the clutch. I don't know what that is, but it kind of, the drum comes out and the things move and then they go back together. You kind of have to, there's the like physical accommodations that you make, and then there's the emotional thing that's happening, and every now and then you got to kind of push the clutch in and separate out the emotional life of what you're doing from whatever your physical body's doing, and then put it back in. You can go.
That's a great analogy. Thank you. Great question. Thank you so much.
Thanks for a great question.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, my name is Carolyn, and I wanted to tell you both I am huge, huge fans. And there's been very serious questions, so I have more of a fun question. There was an Easter egg that was put on one of the DVDs where Dominic Monaghan posed as a radio question for you.
Oh, like the German journal?
Yes. And
Yeah.
it was hilarious. Hans Jensen.
Hans Jensen.
Was there any extra like fallout from that? It was so funny. And
You're asking the question.
Well, afterwards, because you see them you see the reveal, hey, it's me,
Yeah.
it's like I love you, brother, happy
Yeah.
birthday. Was there anything more that came from that? What did you think of that when you saw that, Sean? Because I know that you were mentioned.
I was there. I don't think I was on. I was watching him do it. I can picture him in the corner. There's like black walls, right? It's like
Yeah.
yeah. I remember I watched him do it. He was having fun.
Yeah. I loved it because I was doing all of the junket press via satellite. So all interview after interview, doing it via satellite, which meant that it was from like 11 p.m. at night in New York until like 5 or 6 in the morning because of the time difference, which was insane. So that was actually very appreciated because I was going a little loopy and suddenly but I knew something was up. Like as he started to talk and the questions got weirder and weirder, I was like, there's something to this. And my publicist was just like, do you want to cut it off to the side? And I was like, This is something. It's very funny.
Do you guys still do stuff like that ever together?
The opportunity doesn't really come up for that kind of thing. We don't really, there's like silly exchanges via email, things like that, but not on that scale.
We get asked to do PR stuff. Like we did this. Was it Entertainment Weekly?
The reunion, yeah.
Where they gave me questions. Like we passed questions around through each other.
That was for Empire.
Empire. That was for
Yeah,
Empire,
that's
right?
right.
Yeah. So I guess Ian asked me a question, and I answered Dom's question. I can't remember how it
I
worked.
asked, I think, Ian's questions. Everybody basically asked a series of questions to each other person, and that person would then respond to the questioner before them.
Yeah,
That was cool.
That's right. So, and it's funny because it's playful and passage of time and all that, but then you really want to see what the other person said.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Now we're all going to look up that little Easter egg.
We should.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Oh.
First of all, I'd like to start off by saying I have watched each of the extended movies at least 37 times.
You could round up probably at that point. You could probably say 40.
40 times.
That's incredible.
And I started when I was 6 years old.
I don't think I've actually even seen the full extended version of Return of the King yet. I know.
But you...
did the commentary for the extended, but that was the only time I've seen it, and if I remember correctly, it was unfinished. Like I never sat down with the absolute like finished sound, finished picture, finished effects version. Yeah.
Guess what you're doing this weekend?
Guess what I'm doing this weekend?
I watched Return of the
Lord
King.
of the Rings marathon.
I watched Return of the King this year in Atlanta, shooting Stranger Things. Christine and Elizabeth and Bella, our 15 and 12-year-old, they came for a visit, and then we were all in the hotel room. We all kind of like climbed into bed. And we turned on the TV, no idea what we were going to watch, and the beginning of Return of the King was on. And I know now not to ask them to let me to watch something that I'm in, or to like let me read stuff to them. Like they have their own life, and once in a while I'll get an invitation to do something. But so it comes on, and I basically go. and Bella, if you see this video, I'm not throwing you under any kind of a bus. I'm just telling you it's important family history here, your relationship to the Return of the King. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to watch it. Not Lord of the Rings. No. Now Elizabeth, so she was 11 at that moment, and Elizabeth is 14 at that moment, and she says, usually she backs her sister up. It's because they get scared. They don't like scary. So I don't like scary. I like Lord of the Rings. But anyway, so Elizabeth says, well, maybe let's watch one scene. And I'm like, what's gonna happen? And Christine's always overdoing something, and it's like she's very busy, but she's not, I don't even know, she's like totally aware of what's going on, and she's gonna be the judge. And it's all real subtle stuff that happens, but she says, and Bella realizes now that she's outnumbered 2-1, and all heads shift to Mom. Right? And Mom said, well, maybe we can watch one scene. No, I don't want to watch. We can watch one scene. So we sit back in, and we watch we got through the whole movie with commercials. But here's the thing. The commercials are actually great, because I could explain stuff to Bella. You know, well, I don't understand, what is Gondor, and why is this over there? And now I'm a Tolkien expert, like I'm the one who doesn't understand anything, but now I'm like, oh, this is the thing, and this is the thing, and you know, Elizabeth's like, Dad, don't, you know, you're gonna turn her off, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. So we got through the whole thing, and the coolest thing was, I don't know that they would answer the hero, who's the hero question the same, because at the end of the movie, they just kept saying, Dad, you're so good in it. You're so good. And I was like, oh, guys. I got like another day and a half out of that. I mean, it was like, you know, we're doing something totally different. I'm like, listen, but really it was good? No, I'm just asking. Like, it was good? And they're finally like, Dad, it was good. So, that was pretty fun.
Great story.
That is a great story. And did you have a quick question?
Yes, I did, for Elijah Wood.
Uh-oh. I'm in the hot seat.
Yes, and it has to do with Return of the King, so. Has to do with Return of the King.
Okay. And your question, sir?
How long did it take you to master the scene with your evil face when you refused to throw the ring into the volcano?
When I say the ring is mine, when I decide to actually take the...
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
I know the answer.
Do you? I don't know.
It took him no time at all.
Right. Oh, shit. Right.
It's a big, I just when I saw you were there, but like, it was startling. I'm with him on his question. Oh, sorry. I'm with him on the question. Like, it really was an extraordinary transformation, and maybe you didn't get to it quickly, but it was such a complete thing that it was very arresting to see.
Yeah, I don't have any memory of the process beyond thinking that Frodo turned. He's not Frodo anymore at all. He's the embodiment of greed, and evil might be a little too harsh. He's Gollum, basically, at that moment. He becomes a version of Gollum, that same impulse to keep something and be, that it's taken him over. So just kind of, it's a play on that idea. I just remember having I had a lot of fun. It's a fun moment. You know, it's the moment where he turns and it's very brief because obviously Gollum stops him from making a very bad decision. I just remember having fun with it.
Thank you.
you.
So, guys, we have 5 minutes left, but we have a lot of people with questions. So, what do you think about if we do like the rapid fire? Like, you guys have to ask either yes or no or very short answers.
I'm good at rap. I'm good at
Everybody
lightning round.
stand up, stand up. Both you guys, both lines, the whole line. That way we can do this.
Recently, Sean, is the lunches we used to have. Yeah. Dude, it was the
It's fast. It's about fast. It's about speed. It's a speed game.
So, ready? Are you ready to kick us off? Go.
I love you in the American Airlines thing. That was really the airplane thing. That was funny. My question is, what was it like? You know, was it weird seeing yourself in like video games, action figures? You know, after the fact of filming it.
No,
Action
cool.
figures, video
Not
games.
weird. Not weird.
It was
Cool.
like a geek dream come true. Yeah, so awesome.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, sorry, I'm really short. Sorry. I'm Caitlin, really big fan. Nice to meet you too. I was just wondering, for Mr. Wood, I have a question.
Okay, hurry.
Sorry. How did it feel when you came back to film in The Hobbit? I was just wondering.
Extraordinary. It was something I'd never imagined in my life that I would get to revisit that. It felt like I was traveling back through time, and it felt like no time had passed at all.
Thank you. Hi.
You guys rock. If each of you were going to play someone other than who you did play in Lord of the Rings, who would you play? A character other than who you actually played.
Other than your...
Frodo and Sam. A non-Frodo and Sam character, who would you play?
I'm so fucking angry.
Couldn't they just flip-flop?
No, you're not allowed to flip-flop.
Right. No, maybe no hobbits.
These are very specific rules to your question.
Gollum was always my favorite character in Tolkien.
Yeah.
My favorite chapter in any Tolkien novel is probably Riddles in the Dark, so it's Gollum is always one of my favorites.
I was hoping to see that.
Sean?
Aragorn. Isn't it obvious?
Hi, hello. I'm currently taking Lord of the Rings class in my school. My teacher, Mike Pence, is over there. But I was just wondering, like, a one sentence, if you could say what you think the theme of the Lord of the Rings trilogy is, in like one sentence.
Lord of the Rings theme in a sentence.
In one
Sean?
sentence.
You seem very confident with that now.
If you went first, I was going to feel good with that.
Do you have it in one sentence? What do you think?
To me, look, I think it means a lot of different things to different people. I think for me, at least from the standpoint of my character, it's about the person who may feel the meekest or the smallest, not literally but figuratively, has the ability to change the course of the world. And that is, I think, one of the key thematic through lines, and it's true of so many of the characters, because so many of the characters are going through some version of self-doubt, not the least of which is Aragorn. So that to me is it's always the most profound thing that I've connected to.
That's excellent. Sean, you want to add?
Lord of the Rings is a world where the nature of good and evil is at war with itself. There you go. Is that right?
Thank you. Hi.
I was a big fan. I still cry watching Rhode, just gotta say that. I just want to know, as Lord of the Rings, what movies are like you were most proud of making?
Favorite project aside from Lord of the Rings, TV or film? I'll open it up that way.
Thank you.
For me, recently, there's a film called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. An incredible writer, director, and actor called Macon Blair wrote and directed his directorial debut. I love that film so much. Melanie Lynskey is the lead. I'm a huge Melanie Lynskey fan. Has anyone seen Pregnant Creatures? I adore that movie, and I think Macon is so brilliantly talented.
Sean?
3 little independent films that I made, I love to watch, and they're really special to make, and I don't think many people ever heard of them. One was called The Surface. Chris Mulkey and I, our two character piece, were alone in the, we're stuck in a small ski boat in Lake Michigan. And it's like 90 minutes with this old guy and this middle-aged guy, and just two of us. Another one I did with my mom in Portland. It was a send-up of community theater, and it was called Bigger Than the Sky. So it's just this wonderful kind of take on what community theater is. Great cast. And then the third one is And They're Off. I did a mockumentary thing, a kind of, documentary spoof on horse racing, where I was a trainer, the worst trainer ever. And Sherry O'Terry's a jockey, and we're in a relationship, but that's not going well. And there's just this, and Richard Mall plays my dad, and like he's always bringing me, they're just three movies that I never talk about, and I very rarely ever hear about. But each one of them, the making of them was so kind of like they probably weren't worth an Indie Spirit Award recognition, but they should have been. You know what I mean? Not in terms of actually getting nominated, but like that feeling. We were on Lake Michigan for a month. And when you film on a lake, that's like, you come home at the end of every day, like windburned, and so you feel like you really accomplished something. We were writing the script, we were changing things, we were trying to do it. So anyhow, and then my mom, so those three.
Those three. Sean, will you tweet those names out so everybody can watch them, or at least make note of them?
I absolutely will tweet out the names of those three.
Okay, hi. We've got like no time, so we gotta go fast.
I'll go really quickly. Sean, Elijah, thank you for all your great acting. I have one very brief question for you. So both of your characters encounter members of the Gondor royal family, well, royal in quotation marks, being Boromir and Faramir. So outside of your roles as Frodo and Sam, how do you feel about the motivations of those two specific characters?
Boromir and
Faramir. You remember Faramir, right?
This is not a yes or no question.
They're unimpeachably good.
Unimpeachable, really?
I think so.
Yeah. They're not flawless.
No, but their intention is pure. Yeah. They're flawed as humans, but
And their sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Even Boromir. I mean, I think
Even Boromir, who tried to kill, who tried to
inherently a good man, though, flawed, not capable of withstanding the power of the ring. Yeah.
Thank you.
But that's corruption. I mean, there's so many.
Okay, so if we're gonna do this, it has to be yes or no fast questions because they're gonna kick us off the stage.
I just want to say, you're the best at ever trying to moderate the speed round. Now you guys have to be equal to this.
Let's go.
Can I help? I think two more from this side and three more from that side, and that's fair. Do you think that's fair, or do you want to try and get through all of it? I love all of it, but I'm just saying.
Let's go fast. We'll see what time will tell.
Hello, my name is Vermin Supreme. I am from the internet. I am President of America in the year 2020. I am presently working on an internet-based campaign commercial. It stars me as the president of Narnia. We are going to invade Middle-earth, and I was wondering if you would reprise your roles of Frodo and Spam in this endeavor. Thank you. Do you like free ponies?
Thank you.
I just want to say, I couldn't understand exactly what you're saying, but the answer is no.
Thank you. Yes, hi.
There's a smart man right there. What was it like for you guys when they bowed all in front of you?
What was it like when they bowed in front of you?
Extremely emotional, that moment. I mean, it was obviously shot in a way that we weren't all physically there for every piece of that, if I remember correctly.
So the last shot we did.
Right. My experience.
I cry every time.
Yeah, my experience of it was watching it when we went to do ADR and we got to see the last reel of it. Destroyed.
Okay, guys, this is one more and one more. Here we go.
Can I give each of you a flower?
Yeah. Come on up, sir.
Thank you. Last question, right here.
Okay, so I've been watching the Lord of the Rings movies since I was a child, and same with my brother. I'm pretty sure it was Shalab that gave him the fear of spiders, by the way. Anyways, looking back at that scene, did you find it any scarier, compared to actually filming it, or was there any other scenes scarier than that?
The music adds a lot. You talk.
I missed it. Which scene?
Oh, shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually quite silly moments shooting that scene. Well, because there's nothing there, and they actually did bring large appendages of
Yes,
this
the belly.
that
The
were
belly
sort of
was terrible.
silly. Yeah. So there's a lot of imagination. Not frightening. The most fun part for me was being spun around on that like wheel while they put the silk of the spider and wrapped me up. It was really fun.
Thank you so much.
He was
Thank
willing
you.
to do anything. Elijah would do anything. They're like, listen, we're gonna throw you off a cliff. He'd be like, cool, off a cliff. You know, you're like, no.
I'm still like.
All right, did you guys enjoy?
Woo!